What's going on, everybody? UCF Jaguar back with GenJag.com, and I haven't come out with an analysis video since Sunday. I apologize about that. I've just been too busy winning. Something the Cleveland shitstains haven't done all season. But the Jaguars will be going to Cleveland this Sunday to face off against the 0-9 Cleveland Browns, as the Jaguars currently sit 6-3 and on top of the AFC South. So we're going to go ahead and preview this game.
It's a foot race. Robinson and Browner, and it's Robinson who wins it. Touchdown, Jacksonville. His 14th win. Bortles with top, looking deep for Robinson.
So it's kind of interesting with the Cleveland Browns because before this season, I thought they'd be a lot better than they are. Now, I'm not going to say I thought they were going to be like 9-7 or 10-6, but I saw their roster, and they have a pretty good roster. I mean, when healthy, I should say. They have guys like Joe Thomas. They got Zeitler, their free agency. They have Crowell back there on the backfield. On a defensive side, they got Myles Garrett, obviously, in the draft. He's a great player. Collins. They have a lot of good talent, but for whatever reason, this team just can't get it together. They've only won one game since like the beginning of the 2015 season, which is absolutely terrible. And you look back at last year's draft, they actually had 3 picks in the first round. I love the Myles Garrett pick. Myles Garrett is going to be a beast. He's just a physical specimen. But you also have guys like that they drafted, like Peppers. I wasn't a big fan of Peppers in the draft just because I didn't know what position he was going to play. It just seemed like too much of a tweener. There were people putting him at linebacker, safety, cornerback, and it's really weird, like the way the Browns used him, I think. And they also got David Njoku. And Njoku, when it comes to tight ends, when you draft a tight end in the first round, me personally, I'm only really a fan of that is it when your team is like set up. Like, I mean, I was in favor of the Buccaneers getting a guy like O.J. Howard, because at the time, I thought the Bucs would be a lot better, and I thought that would really add an electrifying piece to their offense. Obviously, the Bucs aren't very good right now, so I just really think that them taking those kind of players, Peppers and getting Njoku, I just didn't think they were the right picks. If I were the Browns, here's how I would approach next year's draft. They are pretty much going to be a lock to have a top 5 pick. They're most likely going to have the number 1 overall pick, but I'll just put them in the top 5 for now. What I would do is I would listen to all kinds of trade offers. I would see who is willing to give up the most to trade up to their spot. And then from there, I figure out what quarterback that team is wanting to get. Because literally, the last 2 years, they have traded away their picks, and the teams that have moved up to their spot have drafted franchise quarterbacks. You look at the 2016 NFL draft, and they moved back in the draft, and then the Philadelphia Eagles come in and swoop up Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is playing at an MVP level right now. Then the very next year, they trade out of their spot to get Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson was playing before he tore his ACL, obviously, was playing at a offensive rookie of the year level, and if he kept that up, he would be playing at an MVP level. Both those picks were with the Browns, or from the Browns pick, and obviously the Browns have been searching for a franchise quarterback for so long now. Well, that's all I'm going to say about that. The Browns kind of frustrate me in the way they draft, so I just kind of wanted to get that off my chest. But let's go ahead and get into this matchup. Now, a lot of people are calling this a trap game. I don't think it's a trap game just because I don't think we're going to be treating it like that. Look, like last week, for example, all week we were hearing about Phillip Rivers being like 6-1 against the Jaguars and stuff like that. And then you hear Jalen Ramsey and AJ Boye come out and say, "Oh, we were so tired of hearing Coach Roan talking about this as being, against Phillip Rivers." But what's being even talked about even more than that is how much of a trap game this is going to be. So I really expect the Jaguars to come with that energy and be able to finish this game, just because Browns suck. They're not a good team. They're terrible. I don't see the Jaguars losing to this team. Now, there are a few things that worry me about this game. First of all, the weather. It's going to probably be snowing this game, and we have a bunch of boys from the South, and we don't really deal with cold weather too often. Like Blake Bortles, for example. I've been following him ever since he was at UCF, and I don't think that, he's never played in snow in the NFL, and the only time he's ever played in snow was in 2013 against SMU. So it'd be interesting to see how he responds. Obviously, Fournette has gone out and said that he hates the cold weather, doesn't play in it much. I don't know how much like Jalen Ramsey and stuff are playing, but we're a Florida team, so hopefully we can come out there and bring some energy playing in this cold weather. Another thing I'm potentially worried about is how beat up our offensive line is right now. There's a very real chance that we're not going to have Omame and Parnell playing, and you know those have been two pretty decent parts of our offensive line, especially Jeremy Parnell. I haven't really given him any shout-outs in my videos, really been talking about him too much, just because with offensive linemen, you only really talk about them when they're bad, but there were a lot of people on Jeremy Parnell's case last season because he was like doing bad and whatever, but when I saw him, I didn't necessarily think it was bad. I just thought his injury, like because he was dealing with, I think, a groin injury like all year, and it really seemed like that was affecting him. So I really thought that this year, if he was going to be healthy, he was going to have a decent year. And that's how it's been. He's been doing really, really well. It's just now he's a little banged up. So if I were the Jags, I would rest Parnell and I would rest Omami just because I think that we can win without them. Also, Leonard Fournette's possibly not going to play. I would probably rest Fournette too. I think that Chris Ivory will be able to define just running in there. I hope it's interesting with Fournette because he really looked hurt last game. I mean, I shouldn't say he really looked hurt, but he wasn't his normal self. He wasn't breaking any tackles. He only really made one dude miss the whole game. So Fournette's going to have to be a guy that we have healthy later on in the season, and we have a pretty simple stretch of games here. So I would just try to get these guys as healthy as you can. But the Jaguars in this game, I really think that their defensive line can pretty much win this for them. I think that if we can go in there and wreak some havoc on Kaiser, force Kaiser to make some bad throws. Kaiser holds the ball for a long time. So with, you know, a combination of good coverage and our pass rush or relentless pass rush getting there, I think that we could really cause some disruption against Cleveland. Another huge key in this game is I think we need to get up 10 points. Once we get up 10 points, I don't think Cleveland will have a chance to come back. Jaguars, once they go up by double digits, they don't go down. And they just force the other team to just suck, honestly. I mean, once the Jaguars are up 10, they just suffocate the other team. And the other team can't do anything because when we're up 10, the defense is playing cocky. And when the defense is playing cocky, crazy good things happen for the Jaguars. You know what I mean? They force all kinds of disruption. And other teams don't want to get in that kind of situation when they're having their quarterback, especially with Cleveland, trying to get Kaiser to potentially win the game for them. I just don't see it being able to happen. Well, Cleveland is very good against the run. They have like the number 3 rush defense in the NFL. So, our offensive strength is to be a good run team. So, with it being a cold weather game, hopefully Bortles can throw in some passes in there. But also, we're pretty injured at the wide receiving position right now. We have now Allen Hurns out. Obviously, A-Rob's out. So, it's going to be Marquise Lee and some other rookies. D.D. Westbrook, I think, is going to make his debut. I hope he can have a big game. I think he'll be a big piece of our offense just because I think this guy is going to be able to get a lot of yards after catch because this guy is just so versatile out in speed. He's such a fluid route runner. He's a quick twitch kind of guy, and he could potentially be an X Factor, Deshaun Jackson type player for our team. So yeah, I don't see the Jaguars losing this game. I think the first half may be close, but I do think that we'll win by double digits. I'm not really too worried about Cleveland. The Jaguars know right now, like another big reason why I don't think it's a trap game is all the Jaguars just watched the Titans lose to the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. And for the last several weeks, we've been seeing us tied for first place, but technically in that second spot, being in a wild card position because of the tiebreaker against the Titans. So they know that they have an opportunity to have sole possession of first place in the AFC South, and the division is going to be right in their hands. So I think the Jaguars are going to be a hungry team. I think they're going to be focused. I think this could potentially, if like say the Ravens or something like that were to go into this game, it could be a trap game for them if they were in our position, just because they've been to the playoffs all the time. They play like the Browns all the time and stuff like that. But this is a new opportunity for the Jaguars. You know what I mean? I was seeing the other day that if the Jaguars win this game, then this will be the first time that they've been in first place in the AFC South at this point in the season since 2002. So we have a chance to break that ugly-ass streak. So I'm really expecting the Jaguars win here. I'm very excited about this game. We have a chance to go 7-3. Never thought I'd be saying that to you guys before the year, but it's been a really fun first year for me to do YouTube and to be able to follow this team this year. So with all that said, that's all I got. Shout out to Crazy Dog 99. I know he talks a lot of shit about the Jaguars, but he's still cool. So with all that said, that's all I got. It's UCF Jaguar with JinJag.com, and I'm out.
Who is the best undefeated college football team? Now, be honest. Be honest now. Who's the best?
Man, I'm probably going to say it's, the UCF. the UCF.
Oh, you got me wrong with that. I got excited for a second.
I'm going with UCF, man. You already know.